You've been following the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing?
Bro, Blake Lively, talk about ruining your reputation, and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they f***ed up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you were a key part of this.
This is what you get, though. This is what you get. You're trying to f***ing ruin a guy's livelihood by using the Me Too movement?
Because they were trying to take over the movie.
Yeah.
They were trying to take over the movie and the whole franchise. He owned the franchise. The whole thing's crazy.
Point did it become clear to you that Blake Lively was the aggressor in this now epic showdown? Was it right after was it when Baldoni dropped the countersuit? Was it when Brian Friedman put up the website with the 170 pages and all the text? Or was it right away when the Times wrote?
Right away. I've always had an intuition about her, and I've always had an intuition about Taylor Swift and like the branding of the nice girl stuff.
These cars aren't moving.
Ready?
Thanks, Cap.
How you doing, Blake?
Thank you,
Kevin. Guys, watch. Come on, guys. Watch, guys. Come on, guys.
Blake, over the shoulder, Blake.
No, there's no
Justin Baldoni lawsuit should be ashamed of yourself, right? Now, you know, Blake Lively played in a movie that I've watched from the 42nd minute on 50 times. And it's called, what is the name of that movie? What is the name of that movie? Now, I've watched this thing so many times. What is the name of that movie? It's Age of Adeline. Okay, I've watched that thing some. Thank you, Kelly. Age of Adeline, right?
It's my favorite movie.
It's
What's
such a great movie with her and Harrison Ford. It's a phenomenal movie. With this one here, to me, when I think about what happened with Amber Heard and what was the other guy?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. This is such an important story. I know you don't give a shit about it, but this is such an important story because if they would have won against him, a guy whose dream was to be a Hollywood actor, producer, director, they could have crushed his career if they would have won.
And they tried to do that. We do have It Starts With Us, so I'm hoping to see you back in the double duty role.
I think there are better people for that one.
Justin.
I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Justin said he doesn't know if he'd be game to direct the next one, but perhaps Blake would. Is that something that you would entertain?
Oh, absolutely. I think that whoever decides to take charge of the next one would do it justice. But, you know, it's a lot of people to get the same schedules together again, so we'll see.
Oh, absolutely. She's so capable of that. She is a powerhouse. She can do literally anything.
Okay, so Joe Rogan really went off this time. And when we say he didn't hold back, we mean it. He just called out Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively in the most brutal way. And now the internet is on fire. We all know Joe's the type to speak his mind. But this time, he came for them hard on his podcast. And honestly, embarrassing doesn't even cover it. And here's the kicker. This drama might actually mess with Ryan's whole Deadpool career. Fans online are already talking about whether this could be the beginning of the end for his superhero run. During the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe made it super clear he's 100% siding with Justin Baldoni in this messy legal fight with Ryan and Blake. And the way he called them out? Brutal. So let's unravel everything he said about Ryan and Blake.
Known as being like this really sweet, nice guy.
Yep.
And then it's like, all right,
Dude,
enough.
he posted the receipts.
Oh,
He's
the
like, oh,
receipts are
remember our
crazy.
tech exchange? Bam, bam,
How about she
bam,
told
bam.
him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding,
With a fun
and then
ass.
part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth.
Issue. We are seeing the Me Too movement literally die. It's taking its last gasping breaths, but it is about to be dead. So essentially what happened is Justin Baldoni purchased the rights to the book, It Ends With Us. He is the producer, director, and one of the lead actors in it. And when he brought on Blake Lively to play his partner, the co-lead, in a movie that is a very heavy topic about domestic violence, she took over every single aspect of the movie.
But somebody else who is very connected to this reached out and said, Candace, you're 90% there. You're just missing one thing. And I'm beginning to wonder, and listen, full speculation, no proof, for him to go that crazy, did something happen between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively? That's my question.
I'm a man, and this is a story that is told through the lens of a woman. And especially when it relates to intimacy scenes and to scenes where there is a mix of intimacy and violence, I wanted to make sure that those scenes had had a female gaze. As much as I can try to see the world as a woman, I never will be able to.
He was great. I mean, he did a really good job at balancing being both, you know, a lead actor in the film and then being a director and a producer. And honestly, the entire crew that he assembled was just so incredible. I mean, everybody in this film was just on the top of their game. It was a really pleasant environment to work in. I never felt like I was on a set, you know, I just felt like I was having a conversation with Blake. And I think you can feel that.
He basically said Blake trashed her own reputation, and Ryan, same boat. Things aren't looking good. According to Joe, Ryan's trying to back out of the lawsuit now, but people involved are telling him, no, you're in this. You're a key part. Joe also claimed that the couple tried to take over the whole movie, like the entire franchise. And when Justin pushed back, they allegedly used the Me Too movement against him.
Let's not forget that the New York Times is being sued. I probably in another life could have been a very good lawyer, or at least one who really enjoyed being a lawyer is what I could say.
My client should go right to jail. The son of a is guilty.
So it goes on page 2 to say, the New York Times contends that the article and video merely reported facts, yet in the same breath, the New York Times also insists that its defamatory statements are not factual at all, but rather hyperbolic and non-actionable opinion. Well, first and foremost, they were saying we have fair reporter privilege, but then they also argued that these were just opinions. Well, which is it? If it's fair reporter, that means you're sticking to the facts. And if you're saying that you were just being hyperbolic and it's not actionable, then that means that you were not just sticking to the facts, which makes their lawsuit relevant.
He said it's wild, but Justin isn't going down without a fight. In fact, he's suing the New York Times and coming in strong, just like Johnny Depp did during his own battle. Joe admired that, saying Justin's doing it for the boys, standing up instead of backing down.
With this one here, to me, when I think about what happened with Amber Heard and what was the other game?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. This is such an important story. I know you don't give a shit about it, but this is such an important story. Because if they would have won against him, a guy whose dream was to be a Hollywood actor, producer, director, they could have crushed his career if they would have won.
And they tried to do that. There was actually text messages where they showed that Blake is saying things. I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but she compares herself to Khaleesi. I believe she has dragons. She's like, I have dragons just like Khaleesi. I have Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. They were doing everything they could to intimidate this guy who is a much smaller actor than Blake Lively. And, you know, not Justin Baldoni, Ryan Reynolds is like the A+ of all Hollywood actors. So, yeah, they tried to completely intimidate him.
I have absolutely no feelings about this guy, Justin Baldoni. In fact, to be perfectly honest, I reviewed some of his social media, and he seems kind of ridiculous with his toxic masculinity, lamentations, and so on. But that's fine. That's me. So I'm not on his side. But my point is simply, I just don't see it. In their incendiary complaint, where they're trying to do their best to bash him and the PR team, I don't see that the second loop closed of, and then here's where they did it. It's just all supposition. They don't have these great texts saying, look what I got placed in the New York Post.
Then Joe praised Justin again, saying most people in Hollywood wouldn't even dare go up against A-listers like Blake and Ryan. But Justin, he's out here holding the ground. And what's really got Joe fired up? The receipts. So get this, Justin Baldoni didn't just speak up, he came prepared.
Justin Baldoni and his attorney previously revealed that they would be releasing a website that includes evidence to support their claims against Blake Lively, and they did just that. The website is thelawsuitinfo.com. In it, there is an amended complaint as well as a timeline of relevant events, which includes a full timeline including screenshots, text messages, and emails supporting their claims. The amended complaint has 224 pages, and the timeline includes 168 pages of evidence. The timeline of events includes a lot of text messages that have already been released to the public, but it also includes screenshots of text messages that we haven't seen before. This screenshot shows Justin Baldoni worried that Blake Lively doesn't want to meet the intimacy coordinator yet. I know the screenshot's really small, but the text exchange shows Blake asking for Justin's opinion on her take of the rooftop scene. Here's a closer look at the text exchange. And of course, you can head over to the website if you want to see the entire timeline.
Stories of what women go through when they experience DV. She made it a lighthearted thing. She wanted to talk about, wear your florals, and she used it as an opportunity to promote her alcohol brand, which is insane because many people know that alcohol alcoholism really fuels DV as well. So it was completely tone deaf. And as a response to this, she was getting a lot of hate. In fact, people were posting old interviews of her that weren't even really relevant at all to the movie, but they're just highlighting this is a mean girl. This isn't a good person.
This footage, which appears in the finished version film It Ends With Us, only in this brief slow-motion montage, appears to show the two stars discussing how to play the scene as they slow dance. Baldoni's team says the 3 takes of this scene, reportedly shot in May 2023, show that what took place on set doesn't match claims of that Lively made an illegal complaint last month. According to the complaint, while filming a slow dance scene, Baldoni was, quote, caressing Miss Lively with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their roles. In the raw footage released by the director's attorney, the two stars can be heard talking about production details while playing to the camera as a couple in love. The complaint says Baldoni, quote, dragged his lips from her ear and down to her neck as he said, "It smells so good." Baldoni's representatives say that the tape proves it didn't happen.
I'm probably getting a spray tan on you.
It smells good.
Well, it's not that. It's my body makeup.
Lively's legal team firing back in a statement, quote, Justin Baldoni and his lawyer may hope that this latest stunt will get ahead of the damaging evidence against him, but the video itself is damning. Lively's representatives say that the footage corroborates her account of what happened, arguing that it shows Baldoni, quote, attempting to kiss her, kissing her forehead, rubbing his face and mouth against her neck, flicking her lip with his thumb, caressing her, telling her how good she smells, and talking with her out of character, adding that no woman should have to take defensive measures to avoid being touched by their employer without their consent.
He already dropped text messages, voice recordings, and even launched an entire website just to break down exactly what happened. And one of those texts? Yeah, it supposedly goes against what Blake claimed about him showing up in her trailer without permission.
This text from Blake Lively is insane. If you knew me in person longer, you'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the ball busting would play. It's my love language, spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth. What?
It's a crazy text.
What are you insinuating? Like, is that a joke? Yeah. I was blown away reading it. I really was blown away, and honestly, weirded out. We're dealing with a weird on our hands because this crazy.
If Blake really felt like she was being harassed, some of her behavior didn't really add up to that with how comfortable she felt with Justin and the way that she spoke to him. That's not to say that you have to behave like the perfect victim if you are victimized, if you're hurt, but it strains credulity, as we always say.
Meanwhile, Ryan is out here trying to back away from the drama, like he's distancing himself. But according to Rogan, it's too late for that. Ryan's already way too deep in the mess to pretend like he's not involved.
But somebody else who is very connected to this reached out and said, Candace, you're 90% there. You're just missing one thing. And I'm beginning to wonder, and listen, full speculation, no proof, for him to go that crazy, did something happen between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively?
And Joe had a theory of his own. He doesn't think this whole lawsuit is really about what Blake and Ryan are saying. Nope, he thinks they were trying to take over the movie and the entire franchise, the one Justin owns, and use the Me Too movement as a way to push him out. Joe even compared it to Johnny Depp's legal battle, saying Justin is basically doing the same thing, standing up for himself and trying to save his name after being hit with what he believes are false accusations. And with the trial scheduled for March 2026, this whole saga is far from over.
He's suing the New York Times, and he's got a great case.
He's going hard in the paint. But that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
It's like Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Yeah.
He did it for the boys.
Exactly. You got to do it.
You're like, nah, man, I ain't going out like this.
Yeah, especially a guy like that who's like known as being like this really sweet, nice guy.
Yep.
And then he's like, all right,
dude, he posted the receipts. He's like, oh, remember our text exchange?
Well, how about she told him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding?
The fun.
And then part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange.
But wait, Joe didn't stop there. He went even further and spilled some tea that dragged Marvel into this too. According to him, there's some sketchy stuff going on behind the scenes when it comes to how Marvel casts their roles. And spoiler alert, it's not really about talent, it's about connections. Joe hinted that some big-name celebrities have been using their status to slide into the MCU, skipping auditions altogether, like it's some exclusive VIP section. He didn't say Ryan or Blake by name, but come on, the internet connected the dots real fast. Fans started pointing out rumors that Blake was pushing hard for a Marvel movie, allegedly making phone calls, pulling strings, and leaning on Ryan's influence since he's already a major player in the franchise. And speaking of Ryan, he's not just Deadpool. He's got real pull now. His opinions actually carry weight inside the MCU. But here's where it starts falling apart. Marvel execs? Yeah, they reportedly weren't loving the pressure coming from Blake's side. And once Joe aired it all out, Ryan's team apparently went into panic mode. Word is, Ryan even reached out behind the scenes trying to find out if Joe was planning to say more on a future episode. And seriously, if none of this was true, why is his team stressing so much? Right now, it's looking a lot like a classic Hollywood power play. And if Joe really does have all the receipts people claim he does, then yeah, this could shake up everything, especially for one of Marvel's golden couples. Joe Rogan is not the kind of guy who backs down, especially not when Hollywood PR teams try to silence him. His whole brand is built on saying whatever's on his mind, no filter, no apologies, and definitely no worrying about who he offends. At one point, Joe even made a wild comment about someone just turning positive for pregnancy, and argued about when life officially begins. Classic Rogan randomness.
You've been following the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing?
Bro, Blake Lively, talk about ruining your reputation, and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they f***ed up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you were a key part of this.
This is what you get, though. This is what you get. You're trying to ruin a guy's livelihood by using the Me Too movement?
Because they were trying to take over the movie.
Yeah.
They were trying to take over the movie and the whole franchise. He owned the franchise.
They're
the whole thing's crazy. And he's suing the New York Times, and he's got a great case
He's
there,
going hard in
too.
the paint. But
He
that's
should.
what it takes.
That's what it takes.
It's like Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Yeah.
He did for the boys.
Exactly. You got to do it.
You need real motherfuckers to be like, nah, man, I ain't going out like this.
Yeah, especially a guy like that. It was like known as being like this really sweet, nice guy.
Yep.
And then it's like, all right,
Dude,
enough.
he posted the receipts.
Oh,
He's
the
like, oh,
receipts are
remember our
crazy.
tech exchange? Bam, bam,
How about she told him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding?
With fun
and then
ass.
part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth. They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts.
Because no one's ever done it. Because everyone usually just bows
Because everyone's
down.
scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds A-list, Blake Lively A-list. Like, they're the queen of the king.
At this time, he didn't explain himself, didn't walk it back, just silence. That silence, it actually made things worse for Ryan Reynolds, because the second fans thought Ryan was feeling some type of way about what Rogan said, the internet went into full detective mode. They started pulling up old interviews, digging through Blake's recent Marvel push, and questioning all those rumors about secret backdoor deals. People even started looking at Ryan's role in allegedly helping Blake get her foot in the Marvel door. And here's the thing, if Ryan had just brushed it off, it probably would have mellowed down like every other internet rumor, but he didn't. He reacted. And when celebrities react too fast, fans start to wonder, what are they trying to hide? That's when things started spiraling. For the first time in years, Ryan's polished, perfectly managed image, it started to crack. Then, just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, a certain clip went viral. In it, Rogan sarcastically called Ryan a predator. Yeah, that word hits hard. Whether it was a joke or not, the internet did not let it slide. Fans began piecing together every awkward joke Ryan's ever made, every flirty moment in an interview, turning the whole thing into a character takedown. And while all of that was going down online, Blake showed up to the A Simple Favor sequel premiere by herself. Now, showing up solo wouldn't normally be a huge deal, but that night, the vibe felt off. The crowd wasn't as hyped. People noticed. The energy was cold. And the biggest red flag? Ryan didn't show up at all. Sure, some fans tried to excuse it, saying it's not his movie, why would he go? But let's be real. In Hollywood, couples always support each other at big events, especially when there's this much heat around them. And with everything going down, Ryan not being there just made the whole situation look even more suspicious. But then came the real jaw-dropper. Someone actually showed up to the A Simple Favor premiere with a sign that said, "Justice for Justin Baldoni." Yep, a straight-up protester right outside the event. It wasn't a huge organized protest or anything, but it was enough to make a statement. It reminded everyone that Blake's squeaky clean image, yeah, that shine is starting to fade.
We do have It Starts With Us, so I'm hoping to see you back in the double duty role.
I think there are better people for that one.
Justin.
I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Justin said he doesn't know if he'd be game to direct the next one, but perhaps Blake would. Is that something that you would entertain?
Oh, absolutely. I think that whoever decides to take charge of the next one would do it justice. But, it's a lot of people to get the same schedules together again, so we'll see.
Oh, absolutely. She's so capable of that. She is a powerhouse. She could do literally anything.
And here's the thing about Hollywood. Once the cracks start to show, they spread fast. Now, let's shift to the Marvel side of this chaos. Insiders say that the Marvel higher-ups are not happy about any of this. The studio's built on clean, family-friendly branding, and having one of their biggest stars caught up in internet drama, that's a big no-no. And if there's one thing Marvel's good at, it's cutting ties with people they see as risky. So if this situation keeps getting messier, don't be shocked if Marvel starts slowly backing away from Ryan. Yes, even Deadpool himself isn't safe. But Blake, she's getting hit even harder. Word is she's falling out of favor with the luxury fashion world, the same brands that used to revolve entire campaigns around her. And in Hollywood, that's basically a silent career ender. No dramatic announcements, no headlines, just a quiet fade. Brands stop calling, stylists move on, co-stars stop bringing up your name. That's when you really know things are going downhill. And right now, the silence around both Ryan and Blake is loud. In this game, every move is watched. Every Instagram post, every red carpet appearance, it all gets picked apart.
Point did it become clear to you that Blake Lively was the aggressor in this now epic showdown? Was it right after was it when Baldoni dropped the countersuit? Was it when Brian Friedman put up the website with the 170 pages and all the text? Or was it right away when the Times wrote?
Right away. I've always had an intuition about her, and I've always had an intuition about Taylor Swift and like the branding of the nice girl stuff. I knew how she grew up. I knew that she kind of was one of these people. What tends to be the case is that when you grow up with everything, you create things out of nothing because you're looking for struggle in your life and you're used to getting whatever it is that you want. So I just kind of had her down to a prototype and said, I'm going to pump the brakes and see what happens. And then when Brian Friedman came back with the facts, they were just undeniable. And it contextualized everything. And it really was quite horrific because you just go, what kind of a monster even goes through with this CRD filing and doesn't include the proper context of these things?
Even small things like a forced smile or awkward body language, people notice. There was even a moment when someone asked Ryan how he was doing, and he answered with a quick, great, fine, followed by a weird pause like he'd been caught off guard. And that kind of awkward moment, yeah, it says a lot.
Who else has a question?
I have a question.
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds.
Hi.
Hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Right now, Ryan and Blake are playing defense like never before. The Marvel rumors aren't fading, they're growing. So instead of staying quiet, their PR teams have gone into panic mode, spinning stories, trying to change the subject, and doing whatever they can to fix the mess before it gets too big to clean up. Blake Lively, who's usually super active online and always knows how to play the media game, just disappeared. No tweets, no Instagram stories, not even a cute little interview clip. And for someone who built her whole image on being relatable and funny, that kind of silence wasn't just strange, it felt planned. The kind of silence that says, yeah, we're not gonna risk making it worse. Meanwhile, Ryan was still showing up here and there, doing press, hyping up his businesses, but people could tell something was off. That usual charm he's known for, totally missing. The smiles looked forced, the jokes weren't landing, and honestly, he seemed like he was just going through the motions, and fans weren't buying it. Their normal PR tricks, the cute couple posts, the family-friendly interviews, the feel-good quotes, none of it was working this time. Even the blogs that used to hype up Blake's outfits or Ryan's quick wit were kind of ignoring them altogether. Blake's team tried pushing a new angle too. Stories about her being a strong mom, staying grounded through tough times. But it just didn't hit. Instead of shifting the narrative, it made things feel even more forced, like they were scrambling to change the story, but nobody was listening anymore. And that's the thing about Hollywood. When you let a rumor sit for too long, it starts to grow. Blake and Ryan were used to controlling the spotlight. But now, the internet, the press, and even fellow celebrities were telling their story for them. And once you lose control of your own narrative, it's game over. All of a sudden, their image stopped being about how talented or successful they were and started looking like two stars desperately trying to outrun a scandal. Then came the cold shoulder. Brands pulled back. Industry people stopped reaching out. The same Hollywood circle that once hyped them up, now quietly backing away. Blake's personal brand, it's taking real damage. Her hair care line, the one that was doing well, is now tanking. Retailers are pulling her products, and sales are dropping fast. Investors are stepping away, and people are already wondering if her cocktail brand might be next. Because let's be honest, Hollywood doesn't care about talent, it cares about image. And once powerful people stop seeing you as valuable, they'll let you sink. No lifeboat, no warning. At first, the Marvel drama was just quiet gossip, a few whispers online, nothing major. But once Joe Rogan's comments blew up, that was it. The story exploded. Fans jumped straight into detective mode. They pulled up old interviews, dug through receipts, and started side-eyeing everything Ryan and Blake had done. And here's the wild part. Even if nothing illegal went down, that doesn't matter in Hollywood. What matters is the story people believe. And right now, a lot of folks think Ryan and Blake were playing a sneaky behind-the-scenes game, trying to use their power to control things. And it's finally coming back to bite them. The moment Ryan actually responded to any of it, that was a big deal. This is the same guy who usually lets his charm and silence do the heavy lifting. But this time, that silence didn't work. Not with someone like Joe Rogan keeping the fire going. And in the court of public opinion, once people start to doubt you, it's game over. The damage is done. There was even talk about how awkward things felt at the premiere. People noticed how Blake's co-stars kept their distance, like she had some kind of PR plague. That's when it stopped feeling like a little PR mess and started looking like a full-on industry freeze-out. Now let's be real, Blake has always been more about image than award-winning acting. No hate, but she's not exactly stacking Oscars, right? Her brand has always been about being the fashion girl, the relatable cool chick who crushes every interview. But once that image starts falling apart, what's left? Silence. And that silence? Yeah, it's ending her career faster than anything else. Now let's get into this whole messy PR war. Word is Blake was actually the one who started leaking dirt on Justin. Not random rumors either. This was calculated. Her own PR agent was reportedly involved. The idea? Make Justin look bad. But instead of wrecking his reputation, the plan totally backfired. Now she's the one taking all the heat, and that's what makes her fall even rougher. It's not some big dramatic scandal that explodes and fades. This is the slow, brutal kind, where the calls stop coming, the invites dry up, and Hollywood just moves on without you.
I'm a man, and this is a story that is told through the lens of a woman. And especially when it relates to intimacy scenes and to scenes where there is a mix of intimacy and violence, I wanted to make sure that those scenes had a female gaze. As much as I can try to see the world as a woman, I never will be able to. And then when it came to bringing on a stunt coordinator, it was important to me that it was a woman. We brought on Lauren Shaw, and we all worked together to figure out, well, how can the intimacy of this and the violence kind of work together? How can we make sure everyone feels safe? How can we rehearse and go through the process? Blake was very involved in that and had amazing ideas and was very hands-on with the choreography of it as well. Honestly, there were many instances on set where I just let the women figure it out, and I took a step back and kind of jumped in more as an actor in those scenes than even as a director.
Here's the real truth. Hollywood doesn't care about who's right or wrong. It cares about who still holds power. Lose your influence, you lose everything. Ryan and Blake might still be smiling for the cameras, but behind the scenes, that grip on power is slipping fast. Because when it comes down to it, it's not about how many tickets you sell or how many followers you have. It's about whether you still have pull, the kind of influence that makes people cover for you when things get messy. And when that's gone, so is the future they worked so hard to build. Honestly, the craziest part of this whole thing is how fast it's falling apart. Like one wrong move, and Hollywood's already moving on, like you were never even there. But this drama isn't just about public opinion or online gossip. There's a whole legal war happening behind the scenes, and it might be hitting one of them way harder than people realize. Last week alone, it was chaos. Court documents flying around, wild theories popping up online. everyone was trying to figure out what's really going on in this Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni mess. And here's one theory that's got people talking. What if Justin's team is actually throwing Blake a lifeline? Sounds wild, right? But let's break it down. Some people believe Justin's camp might be low-key pointing the blame at the real problem, a certain PR team that allegedly gave Blake some seriously bad info. Now, a lot of folks think Blake should take responsibility. But imagine this. Blake steps forward with a big public apology, says she was misinformed, and shifts the blame to her own PR team. In that scenario, Justin gets cleared, and Blake saves a bit of face, but only by throwing her PR people under the bus. Crazy theory? Maybe. But honestly, it kind of makes sense. And here's where the tea really starts spilling. A new round of court documents just dropped, and Jen Ale, who's siding with Justin, didn't hold back.
He was great. I mean, he did a really good job at balancing being both, a lead actor in the film and then being a director and a producer. And honestly, the entire crew that he assembled was just so incredible. I mean, everybody in this film was just on the top of their game. It was a really pleasant environment to work in. I never felt like I was on a set, I just felt like I was having a conversation with Blake. And I think you can feel that in the film.
She's calling out Stephanie Jones, the PR queen, who's been in the middle of this whole disaster. And according to Jen, Stephanie is next level. Apparently, she used to rely on a psychic to predict things about her own employees. Yeah, a psychic. That's some real only in Hollywood stuff right there. But it gets even messier. Jen claims Stephanie didn't just dabble in psychic vibes. She allegedly went full-on chaotic. She supposedly took private info from one of her employees' phones, gave it to Blake, and that's what started this whole mess. Now people are saying Blake might have been manipulated from the start, that she never planned to go after Justin, but got pulled into it because of the bad info she was fed. And on top of that, Stephanie reportedly convinced Blake that Justin was running a smear campaign against her, basically planting the idea that he was out to ruin her image. All right, let's get into the whole Stephanie situation, because it is a roller coaster. According to court documents, she went from being this respected, polished PR powerhouse to a total disaster. She was reportedly throwing tantrums, accusing her own team of being disloyal, and playing all kinds of shady mind games. And at one point, she even accused Jen, yes, the one backing Justin, of being an alcoholic and a gambling addict. And none of it had any proof behind it. But wait, it gets even weirder. She apparently told people, based on a psychic's vision, that one of her employees, Abel, was about to have twins. Imagine your boss running around telling people about your personal life because a psychic said so. Seriously, it sounds like something straight out of a Netflix drama. It's messy, chaotic, and just a total PR disaster. And that's not even the end of it. Stephanie reportedly had this little side hobby, creating fake social media accounts just to stalk and troll old employees and journalists. Yeah, that bad. People even accused her of planting fake stories in the media to get revenge on former clients. And here's where things start clicking into place. The deeper you dig, the more it starts to look like Stephanie was actually the one behind all the drama. She's been linked to the leaked text. She's the one who may have planted doubts in Blake's mind. And she's the one whose own mess might have kicked off this entire spiral. So now everyone's wondering, was Blake really in on all of this from the start? Or was she just caught in someone else's storm? Could this be her chance to clear her name and point the blame elsewhere? We still don't know. The judge hasn't made a final decision yet. But one thing's for sure, this drama is nowhere near done. So, do you think Blake Lively was just a pawn in this whole thing? Let us know what you think in the comments below. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more updates.